Hello, everyone, and welcome to my, influencers series. So, this is going to be where I talk through some tracks and bands and people that have really, really influenced me and my sound, bits and pieces of my past, which really, I don't know, shook things up for me in quite a big way because I've been in the industry now for a while, and I still keep coming back to my roots in many ways in terms of the songs which stay with me, the ideas, the things which really set me off. So the big one, the real big one for me was "Smells Like Teen Spirit." Now the reason was I'm gonna go through the video today, and we're gonna talk to you a little bit about my relationship with the band Nirvana, not actually, but just in my understanding of the band and what they were to me and what they still are in many ways to me, and will sort of always remain. Even though I listen to their music a lot less these days, I would still consider myself very much a crazy fan of theirs, to the point, well, I just know a lot about them. I think I probably know more about them than I realize. I did a lot of research on Kurt Cobain. I did a lot of research on Nirvana from their sort of early years, the labels that they were on, and their sort of ethos as well, which was quite. It was just hard working. It was from sort of a punk rock roots sort of ethics, and I liked that, the sort of rebellious edge. It was quite tragic. The not the death of Kurt Cobain, obviously that was obviously tragic, but I sort of saw it as a little bit tragic how the band sort of ended up sort of being this big MTV band, and I really don't think that Kurt Cobain wanted it to go that way. In the end, I think that he resented a lot of the people that were coming to their shows, because I think that he they were all sort of a bit confused, because they were like, you guys would have beaten me up in school and all that kind of stuff, and I kind of understand all that, and I do get it, and I guess it's how I resonated with as a teenager. I don't think I really think that way anymore, which is what I always sort of think now about a lot of these about a lot of these people that we would say are like heroes, rock stars. A lot of them, when they said a lot of what they've said in their heyday, they're mostly in their like mid-20s, and like, what does anyone in there, with all due respect, I mean, I think that you're still working things out in your 20s. You've just been thrust out of your teenage life and into adulthood, and then with that, I'm not saying people can't be astute, but if you're thrown into a crazy world of stardom, I don't think there's really, you really are kind of on your own. Evidently, in Kurt Cobain's case, because with his apparent suicide, and drug abuse and everything else, he clearly didn't really know what was going on. So I tend not to really listen to a lot of what artists have said, and take it as sort of profound, especially at that age. I think there can be sort of like nuggets of wisdom, but I tend to sort of listen to more of the older guys these days, and even then, who knows? I think they're not gurus ultimately, and even gurus that have their faults, etc. But I think a lot of these guys who are in music they're ultimately musicians, and that's not to take away from the art at all. It's just, I think that you have to be very, very careful with following celebrity, and I think that celebrities are often put there for a very, very specific reason. And often, like, what is it, like Chris Cornell said, he said if the light shines too brightly on on a subculture, it eventually turns the gun on itself. And I mean, that's a pretty powerful statement, especially when you sort of think about what the fate of Kurt Cobain was in the end. Anyway, let's get to Smells Like Teen Spirit. The reason why we're really here right now is to sort of go through this video, go through this song, and say why it meant a lot to me. And it still does mean a lot to me. I tend not to listen to. I'll tell you why I don't listen to this song that much anymore. Is because it means so much to me. It's that, you know, you get too much of a good thing. It really can be like that with music for me, especially. I tend to, what I would do when I was younger, I would almost starve myself of a certain song or something, and then I would allow myself to then listen to it, and I'd listen to it, and I'd allow myself like 10 minutes of really cranking the music up full blast, and so I would feel that rush, that adrenaline rush of like, yeah, really, that's it, because I felt that the more I did that, the more numb I became to it. And I think that's like God bless music, because I think that was one of the big lessons that music taught me, that if you had too much of a good thing, you did become desensitized to it, which is why I think I never got involved with drugs or alcohol or anything like that, because of the understanding that the more you had, the more you would need. Anyway, let's get down to some music. This is Smells Like Teen Spirit. I mean, straight off the bat, that tone. Let's just listen to that tone on that guitar again. For me, I don't know, because it's not massively overdriven. It's not. It's just like there's a bit of crunch to it. There's a bit of bite on it, and it's very clear, little, not too jangly, just a gorgeous tone, and then you get this monster beat, bam, 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 bam. And I heard a little interview with Dave Grohl talking to Pharrell about the drums that the sort of drum style that he was using on Nevermind. And it was a lot of disco. He was using a lot of disco beats, that just real early kind of 70s disco stuff. And very cool. This is very cool. There was something just that feel, that da-dum. And it was always a mark of when I was like 14, 15. It was always a mark of a good drummer if they could nail this this beat. I'd have them in any band that I was playing in. The just that, and it just gets really heavy, and everything's just so powerful there. You got four chords, and then it breaks right down into this. And it's almost eerie, you know. There's almost like this eerie vibe. You just got the bass just hitting those four notes, dum 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 dum, and from this like really heavy thing, it is eerie. It's moody. You got those two notes, down 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 down. I would always play. This guitar's in a different tuning. Whoops. I would always play the those two notes down here and go. But I think Kurt plays. plays it here. I think you get more control over it here, actually. And I used to play it here. I used to stay up here and used to not go down, do the fifths down here. But with Kurt, he used to play fifth chords like this, I think. Something weird like that. That's how he used to play. He used to cover 2 strings with this finger. But I play fifths like this. Yeah, crazy. Not crazy, but like you get it. It's just little nuances.
Load up on guns, bring your friends, it's fun to lose and to pretend she's overboard, self-assured, I know.
Few things to unpack in this. One, the janitor, because Kurt used to be a janitor. He was a I think he used to be a janitor of this building, and I think he was struggling to pay rent. I think he used to like sleep in some of the hotel rooms. These are all stories, sort of a bit of folklore about Kurt Cobain and what he used to do and how he used to live. I think some of it is absolute rubbish, and I think a lot of his friends at the time were like, you know, some of the stuff that is out about his early life really didn't happen. It wasn't like a thing. He wasn't that homeless or destitute or living under the bridge, like catching fish and eating the fish. I mean, whether or not that was something that actually happened, I don't know. But yeah, you know, the sort of the tribute to the janitor there, and just the little sort of squeak in his voice over here. Oh no, no, oh no. It's just beautiful. I still get chills on that. I'm sorry, like it's just the hello. It is again. It's that eeriness. It that builds. It's look at the janitor there, like dancing away. Hello. It's just such a great hook. Hello. Butch Vig, who produced Nevermind, he said that when he had Nirvana play them all their songs like live, so they so he knew what he was dealing with when recording the album. And it's what usually most decent producers get bands to play them their demos and stuff just beforehand, so they know what they're walking into. And I think he said he got them to play it just a ridiculous amount of times for him. And I think Kurt in the end was just like, okay, enough. And he said he just was pacing back and forth. He just was like, started pacing like it had a real... It's just a real effect on him. Like they knew, he knew that they had something. And what's funny about it is, I think Kurt Cobain said he was just trying to write. He was trying to write Louie Louie, which is 3 chords, I believe. Louie Louie is a. Louie Louie, oh. So you got I mean, it kind of works. Very interesting. I mean, yeah, but then but at the same time, whether or not he was trying to write Louie Louie or whether or not he was just being humble, I like it. Either way, I like it. I think it's cool. Okay, and then you got this. I am a sucker for a snare, just a snare lead in, just a snare roll. I just think there's something about just, it doesn't have to be like, you don't have to like start smashing all around all the toms and everything. Keep it simple. It's as simple as just a snare, and it's like you're just smashing down a wall, smashing stuff to pieces. Absolutely love it. And then where the last down, what vocals, what incredible vocals. Just listen to his voice when it comes in. Here we are now, entertain us. I feel stupid and contagious. Here we are now, entertain us. And then it goes into some other things. I'm a lino, Anafano, a mosquito, my libido, yay. It's just simplistic and hard hitting and a little bit complicated, but it's the entertain us. When the light's down, it's less dangerous. I mean, Kurt Cobain's lyrics, he never really liked explaining them because I just don't think they really meant much. Not really. But in a way that's kind of cool. Kind of like how I sort of feel about Filter. Like, I really don't think they got great lyrics. But it all kind of works. These days I'm sort of like, I used to write songs in a similar vein, so they would be more sort of, they're metaphors, man. The metaphors, make of it what you will. I like songs that kind of mean a little bit more to me these days, if I'm honest. But yeah, it's I still think it's a thing of beauty in this song. You see, I always thought that was something that he did in the guitar. It confused me for ages, and I think what they did was they yanked the guitar string. I think that there is guitarists that I've seen play it. So they'll go, they'll like pull that, but like mostly, even when you hear like Nirvana play it live, they'll go and they'll say but I think that's probably what they did. They distorted the vocal in the studio, so the vocals all distorted. I was like, how do you do that on guitar? How do you do it on guitar? And I think the mystery was there because you can't really do it on guitar, not well anyway. You can yank a note out and make it all discordant and everything, but I think it's a distorted vocal. And then straight back down again. And there's a janitor dancing around. It's just fun. And it's this weird like crossover. And then at the very end of the video, the teacher's all tied up, and it's sort of the anti-establishment, and the janitor's the cool guy in the school. Kind of like harkens back to the Breakfast Club movie, where the janitor's like, I'm the eyes and the ears of this institution. It's like, I go in your lockers, I hear all the pieces of gossip which is going around in the school. Oh yeah, I know everything. And the janitor's this like weird cool guy, sort of, who's still kind of down with the kids, man. He has a job. It's so weird.
I wasn't what I destined for this gift of being.
It's you go to the, let's have a look at Dave Grohl here. Let's have a, can I get close enough to these cymbals? See, right, see underneath these cymbals, there's all that tape underneath them. Now this is this is a very necessary thing to do when you're making a music video. So a lot of people won't notice that. I noticed that because of the amount of music videos I've done, and silencing cymbals is very, very difficult. If you've got Dave Grohl on the other end of the stick that's striking those cymbals, you're gonna have to dampen them somehow. Sticking gaffer tape on them, I mean, that doesn't look like it's gonna be anywhere near enough, but it just takes a little bit of that, a little bit of the vibration, a little bit of the out of that, because it's they would have had to have with Dave Grohl playing drums, and to kind of get the vibe, I think they probably would have had to have the music absolutely blaring in that hall, and they would have probably had to like loosen up some of the skins on his drums and stuff. And this is just what you have to do when doing music videos with I mean, the guitars aren't plugged in. You still have to hear what you're playing to, so they'll play the music. And Ross Eisen from New Device, he was given these silence cymbals by pasty cymbals, and they are specifically for music video shoots, and they're white, they're coated in this stuff that you sort of hit them. It's very weird when you hit them. It's sort of like sort of, that you feel the energy just sort of being sucked out of the strike, and it's silent, so it's just little taps as opposed to because that will make the cymbal sound and it sounds terrible, but it's necessary. It was just like stuff like that was really funny, like, you know, coming after the camera like that as well. And that guitar that he's playing, I believe it's a 1969 Fender Mustang as well. Very coveted and glorious guitar. I like that when you sort of see that the mosh is building up, and yeah, just Kurt's like, oh my gosh, here we go, and it all kind of kicks off. I think there's something about, I always thought it was like cool, you know, you sort of had the anarchy sign on the cheerleaders and stuff like that. And now I sort of look back at it, and I almost sort of think, this was doomed to kind of go the way it was supposed to go, really. That you turn Nirvana, a good hard-working grassroots sort of band, into the plastic lunchbox grunge music, which the spirit of it was very DIY, very dirgy. The very essence of, you know, the name grunge, you sort of think of like sludge, sponge, grunge. It's grungy, man. I mean, look at the state of Kurt there. That's the epitome of grunge. Like longish hair, bit messy. Yeah, shirt over shirt, you know, whatever. I turn up to a video shoot today, man. Having some marshmallows. But yeah, just grunge. And, you know, you've got the cool kids with an an Anna Key A on there, and they're the cheerleaders. It's just don't really make much sense, but it's very MTV. This whole thing, that now that I see it with, I guess, older eyes, and I maybe am I being a bit more cynical? Probably, but I think I'm also being a bit more realistic. This thing, they knew it would sell, and sell it did, and it continues to sell, and I'm not taking away from it. I'm just simply stating a fact that the spirit of it, what it intended to be, was probably not this. I think that a lot of what happened to Kurt was there was a great deal of corruption because of, well, not just because of the money and the fame, and not even just because of his wife, but I think there was a lot that happened within the band and creatively. I think he really wanted to draw back from what he had created here, because at the very start, well, really what was kind of the very start with Smells Like Teen Spirit, when it really took off like this, I think there must have been a holy cow moment where, you know, they knew that they were on something big and trying to hold on to that punk rock ethos when you are in the limelight of something which is now very, very commercial. Must be a very strange juxtaposed position to be in. I think the raw power in his voice really, I always wanted to be able to sing or scream, what you would say, you know, like Kurt Cobain. Never really been able to do it. I mean, I can, but it hurts my voice a lot, and I think it kind of hurt Kurt's voice a great deal as well. I don't think he had a particularly great technique when it came to like screaming. I think you know, I remember there was times when they just done Top of the Pops, and they'd Kurt was really, he had a really sore throat, and he was, you know, just screamed night after night after night. They were touring a lot. And but yeah, I love the sepia look on this as well. It's a great video. It's a great video. I know I'm like, oh man, it's so commercial. I get it. I'm saying it is brilliant because it is so commercial, and it's so well done. I think it really has stood the test of time. When did this come out? 92? 92? Let's just double check that, because I'm pretty sure it was 1992. When was Smells Like Teen Spirit released? 91.
September 10th, 1991. According to history.
Yeah. Thank you. September 91. Yeah, so that's 31 years ish. Wow. Yeah, so yeah, that's insane, isn't it? That's really amazing, actually. But I think it really has stood the test of time. I think it will continue to stand the test of time. It's only sort of now that I hear his voice like, yay, like in the background, yay. This solo. I think he was taking the mickey there. Have a look at this. Have a look at this. You watch him when he's all doing this stuff on the neck of the guitar. I think he was taking the Royal Mickey actually. I just think he was taking the Michael out of a lot of the guitarists that were probably around, like your Van Halen's, your Joe Satriani's. If Joe Satriani must have been around, like your Malmsteens and your Steve Vai's and all those kind of guys, the real kind of hair metal guys, the slashes of everything. And what you've got here in this solo, it's just it's the melody, for the verse. Load up on guns. Load up on guns, bring your friends. It's fun to lose and to pretend. She's overboard, self-assured. I know a dirty word. Hello, 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 hello. Just simple as anything. I mean, Peter Green from Fleetwood Mac. He would often say that he would try and recreate melodies in guitar solos and stuff like that. I just think it's so simple. You do get that a lot with I think there's a good number of Nirvana songs which have the guitar solo as the vocal, which is pretty much mimicking the vocal melody in some way. Now over this verse, I think this is really nice production, because they leave out the down down, they just leave that the feedback of the solo going, so you don't have the down down, and it's a nice, because the song doesn't have a middle eight. It doesn't have. There's no other part to it. There's a lot of parts in the song. So you have you got the intro, jang 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 jang, and then you lift that, which is pretty much the chorus. It's pretty much the chorus as the intro, without vocals. Then you've got the verse with the down down, and then you've got the hello, 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 hello. You got the pre-chorus, and you got the chorus, and then you got the down, 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 A. So it's hook, 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 hook. But it doesn't take you anywhere else musically, except for the solo, which is you still have the repeat of the bass and the chorus, dang, dang, jigga, dang, dang, jigga, dang, dang. It's still that repeated, but then it's the same melody, but in a guitar form instead of the vocal and lyrics, which is cool. But having just the guitar feedback going on over the end, what you get there is it allows you to it opens the song up into, oh, something else is happening, and it's almost like this concluding verse here, because it's a little bit odd that you get like the verses, the verse will, there'll be like a third verse. Third verses are often not particularly long. I tend to stay away from long third verses, just because it lengthens the song a lot, and any new information you really want to sort of put into a middle eight. Anyway, we're going down the songwriting route, but that's one of the things which I think is amazing about how this has been produced by Butch Vig. And I forget just what it is, so yeah, just holds it. Makes me smile. I found it hard. It's hard to find a will, whatever, never mind. And then it brings in the and then it sort of goes into kind of mental anarchy sort of thing. But when with Kurt, like the build up on it is just so good. Like when he starts like jumping up and down, and then you got the kids they so you're like, hang on, he's got hold of one of Dave's cymbals, and you got the kids, they got hold of the bass guitar and everything, and it really did speak to the hormones, I guess, that was sort of knocking around in a very angsty teenage years, I think. Just it is just lunacy, just kids hanging. Look at this! Look at that guy hanging from the hoop there. I mean, that must have been a blast to be a part of. There's an outro to this as well. So although it's like four notes, 4 chords and change, there's still many different parts. And I think like the more that I've sort of got into looping, you sort of realize that there is a great deal that you can do with adding to if you have a decent bass, or a decent canvas, you can add a great deal to it. And I think that's what they've done here. Trent Reznor's the same with what he does with a lot of the Nine Inch Nails music. He'll create something, add to it, subtract from it, add to it, subtract massively, and it's just, you can add and like subtract sort of dynamics from all these things. It's amazing. But there's just this it's just screaming. I've heard some people say like it's I denial. I don't care. I mean, really, what I'm hearing here is just he's just yelling, and that in itself is primal enough to speak to any teenager who doesn't know what the hell is going on, who's fighting authority. Whoo-wee. It's great. Now, if you notice, I'm gonna draw your attention to it, and I always think, ow, that must have really hurt, because Kurt is throwing up. See, he was throwing up the guitar. That's actually the bass guitar. He didn't destroy that. I don't think anyone would have let him destroy that '69 Mustang. That was a pretty sweet guitar. I think that was kept very. I think that was probably safe away in its little bed, when its bed of like nice furs, a nice furry case. Close. Sleep time, and it was put away. But yeah, I don't. That was the bass guitar. But when he whips it back and the strings are still attached to the bass, I think that might have hurt. I don't know if it's coming up or if it's gone. There. See it whipping up? And then at the end, when Dave Grohl smashes this, I wonder how many times they would gone through that where it's like, just we got to break the stick at the very end, Dave. I remember my brother telling me about that, and he was like, yeah, he was just one take and just smashed it. And we were just teenagers talking, or, I mean, I got into Nirvana really late. I wish I'd kind of been a part of it, but I was too young. But it still spoke to me, and I'm sure if I was a teenager today, it would still speak to me. I think I've calmed down a lot in many ways. But I also think that there's a reason why Nirvana prevails in music, in the music world. I mean, Just even this like, yes, yeah, perfect. That is iconic in itself when he's like, people remember that. What the hell's that? He's lip syncing. The lip syncing's out. Like they're not playing guitar like correctly. Like who cares? Who cares? No one cares. No one cares. And they're taking the mickey all the way through it. And then all of a sudden you've got the janitor is just sweeping up around the. We guess like teacher. I always thought this was a teacher. It doesn't look. He looks a little bit too old to be. I don't think he's a nerd, is he? What we would perceive as a nerd. I hope it's not a nerd. I hope that's more sort of like an authority figure. I mean, it's not great that it's an authority figure either. You know, one should not be tying up our fellow constituents and leaving them tied to a post in the gym. Anyway, I think this is a great song. I think Nirvana are a great band for what they did. I think that the rock world owes them a great deal. I think there's a lot of people that think that Nirvana and the grunge movement, because it was quite a movement, took away a lot from what music was. And it probably needed to. The feel-good bands, such as like Guns N' Roses and Motley Crue, Cinderella, all those kinds of bands. There is always a backlash when it goes too far in that direction. I mean, Nirvana. I think Nirvana were part of the reason probably why Kiss had to take off a lot of their makeup, and but Kiss are another band that prevailed because of it. They were like, oh, what do we do now? Should we take our makeup off? Yeah, and they were beautiful men, so they then sold another gajillion records and explored a different vein of what they were doing. Guns N' Roses had to do the same. Bands just had to evolve. And I think, bands like the Sex Pistols, etc., when they all came out, they were a reaction to everything sort of being so nice. Like you had the Beatles and the Monkees, and so there was quite a. But again, it was commercial backlash as well. You have to have something which was, opposed to whatever it was, to create some sort of controversy. Yeah, and I think I'm going to leave it there for now. But it's a brilliant song. It's one of the main reasons why it was at least one of the main catalysts. This song was one of the main catalysts for me picking up a guitar in the first place. I tell this story a fair amount to people who ask me about like my influences, but I was sat watching MTV and the box, I think it was. I was just waiting for this song to come on, and I mean, if you told me that I could have it on at the touch of like a couple of clicks on a computer, I would think that I was going to be living in heaven in the future, man. But I was sat down, I was watching. My dad was behind me, and he had the guitar, and he was going. I turned around and was like, teach me, wise one. And that was it, really. I was gone. I was suddenly here. Thanks for listening today. Thank you very much for watching. This is this is my favorite song in the whole wide world. And if anything tops this, I don't know, it's got to be something absolutely remarkable at this stage, because nothing has changed my life in quite the same way, and had such a profound effect on what I do with my life. And that is the power of music, everyone. That's the power of music. It really, really is. It really can shape things in a monumental way. And I think I'm living proof of that. Thank you very much for being here. My name is Daniel Leigh. Take care of yourselves. Stay frosty, and I look forward to doing more of these with you very, very soon. Take care. Bye bye.